Welcome back, builders. This week we're taking a look at Late Age Utgard, Well of Erd. Utgard is a land of bitter winters and cool summers. It was once Jotunheim, home of the giants. But with the coming of man, the giant population has dwindled. After man ventured to the icy lands of Jotunheim, the giants of Jotun discovered humans could be resourceful allies. With the awakening god, all grudges have been cast aside, and men and giants fight side by side. The alliance with humans has estranged the Gaijas and their Veti servants, who no longer aid the giants. Instead, human seerses have become influential. In the heart of Utgard lies the magical Well of Erd, where the Norns gather to divine the future of the world. The giants of Utgard are immensely strong and resilient. They are born in the cold and do not suffer from cold climates. The people of Utgard prefer to live in cool provinces. So, congratulations to Jotunheim. Your great-great-great-great-great-grandkids have survived to late age. Yes, we are Utgard now and not technically Jotunheim, but we are a pretty direct link here. So, congratulations to them. For national features, we are cold resistant, but only on our giants, and we prefer a cold scale of +1. For military, we have giant infantry and human infantry. Magic, we have decent amounts, generally speaking, about 2, of water, astral, death, glamour, blood, and we have a little bit of nature. So, not a, like, super confined path, like, let's say, like Abyssia, where it's like you do fire and a little bit of astral and some blood, and that's it. But we don't go overly deep in a lot of these paths. But conversely, we have astral and blood, so we can do Sabbaths and communions to go up to basically anything we'd like within these paths. Maybe nature would be a little hard to use. Our priests are average. We have recruitable holy 2s. Unfortunately, no holy 3s. Scales and blesses, we get a cold limit of +1 and a luck limit of +1. Now, here's a little bit of a problem. Unlike Jotunheim of the past, our fortresses do not prevent deaths from cold scales. So if you wanted to take advantage of this cold and go to cold 3, you would be getting some pretty heavy pop kill. Your forts are not going to lower it, and our non-giant troops are not immune to the cold. So I'm not sure that it's really worth going deep cold scales here, especially when we prefer +1. Depending on your lobby, perhaps, if you know there's no other cold nation, maybe it's worth just bombing all the way down there anyways, just to make your lands inhospitable. Or conversely, if there's a bunch of other cold nations, maybe you actually go heat 1 or just neutral scales even, just to give yourself some points while kind of not giving them any bonus. We don't have any ice armor or anything else that really benefits from that. And I do find that the luck +1 maybe is a little out of place here. I would struggle to fit luck 3 into a build here. We have some pretty expensive troops. For buildings, we build giant forts, and we actually do go up to giant citadels, so we are on age-appropriate infrastructure. I will note that these are really expensive. I believe they only start at 1,000, but then every upgrade after that is 800. So these are quite pricey buildings, but as giant buildings go, they're pretty good. They have increased defense, and they have increased admin, I believe, a little bit. So they're pretty nice fortresses. I do like them. For sites, we only have one site. We have the Well of Erd. This gives us a death, 2 astral, a glamour, and our 2 cap only mages, both of which are slow to recruit. I'm a little disappointed here. The Norna are here dividing the fate of the world. This should be a scry site, I feel, but it is what it is. It's all right. For gem income, this is decent. Death is always good. Astral is pretty good. Glamour is pretty good. You could make some use out of this for sure. Units and sacreds. For units, we kind of have a big split here. We have the human troops and we have the giant troops. As you can see, quite a variety of both types. Starting in on the humans, we have Huskarl. This is the axe and javelin variety, wearing a ringmail, halberd, an iron cap, and a shield. You can see here that gives him 10 on the body, 16 on the head with an okay shield. These guys are all right. 10 attack for 18 slashing damage is not bad. For javelins, I don't like human javelins. I just don't feel that they can get through the armor of the age. 12 is pretty mediocre. We're not like specifically good at throwing it or anything. And our morale is only 10. We are actually like a fully human troop here. That being said, it's cheap. 10, 12, 9 is not a bad price for this guy. One thing of note, humans, of course, are size 3. Our giants are size 6. So we have 4 empty spaces to fill. A human can fit easily into a square, and that will help divert a little bit of the focus fire that your giants would otherwise suffer. So I do think it's always worth having something share their square, whether that's a recruited human or perhaps a skeleton or an illusion, just something to keep in mind. The javelins do give you the ability to kind of stay in place if you're using giant javelin, so you don't run too far ahead of your giant friends. Next up, we have Huskarl. Same guy. This is the spear variety. I do not like human spears with 13 damage. I do feel 16 is kind of the golden number here in late age still, and 13 is not going to do it. Yes, a rank 3 spear might get you some repels, but with only 10 attack, it's not going to be that often on a dead human chassis. 10, 12, 9 for the cost. Not bad. They could be okay. I think of the two, though, I'm probably more likely to go with the axe variety if I had to pick one of these two, just for the way, way, way more damage at 18. Next up, we have the human Huskarl. This is the axe variety. He has traded out his javelins for some heavier gear. Chainmail halberd, a half helmet, and a shield gives him 15 on the body, 18 on the head, 16 overall. Again, dirt human chassis, nothing else really to say about this. If you don't need the javelin, and I don't love the javelins on humans, this is a better troop, frankly. Next up, we have the Huskarl again. This is the spear variety. Same exact thing as we just looked at. Same critique with the spear. I'm not in love with these guys. Unless you think the spear is going to do a lot of repel work for you, I just don't see the value in these guys. Next up, we have the human Hildman. This is probably the best of your human troops. He's a bit more pricey, 13, 22, 16, but you get a broadsword, a length 1 broadsword, but he has 12 attack with 16 slashing. This is pretty decent. I would consider this a decent line troop on most nations, but here we, of course, can use giants. Otherwise, it's basically human stats. We do have 11 morale, so that is nice. It's a little bit higher. We are wearing that 16 protection. That is not terrible. Starting in on giant troops, we have the Jotun Bondi. The Jotun Bondi is I'm going to call this light. He has 13 protection. That is true 13. Full leather armor, a shield, and a reinforced leather cap. He has an axe that he's not particularly good with, but it does 27 damage. So you're going to struggle to hit a little bit, but if you're attacking things with very low defense, these guys are going to chop them up. Coming in at a giant, we also have our standard traits for our giants. These are susceptible to shock 5, so we take more lightning damage. We are cold resist 15, and we have snow move. The snow move is great, but it's really annoying that our humans don't also have it. So if you're going to go cold, and if you're going to use humans, your humans are going to slow you down. This is map move 14. The humans are already 10, or if I go lighter troops, 12. And in the snow, they're going to be even slower. So that's a little bit of an oof. I kind of wish the humans had a snow move. I don't see why they wouldn't here. So bit of a disappointment there. These guys, of course, are a lot more expensive than human, but we do have giant stats. Notably, the 31 HP for 20 gold is not bad. I also note here, these guys are good at sieging. 3.6 siege strength for a single one of these compared to a regular human, which does 1, of course. Next up, we have the Jotun Javelinist. This is the same guy, but he has javelins. Of the two, I like this one more. He's also better trained. We have 10 attack with that axe. Giant javelins, despite the fact that they're not particularly precise, we have a good distance we can throw, and if we hit them, we peg them to the ground. So I do actually like giant javelins. 23 piercing is perfectly fine. In fact, kind of spooky. In my test game here, I had to fight a big group of trogs, and I was able to javelin a good chunk of them down on the way in, which was quite nice. Otherwise, this is again kind of one of our lighter giant troops. Next up, we have the Jotun Spearmen. Now, weirdly enough, these are our actual heavy troops here in the middle, and then we're going to go down to our medium troops. So, Jotun Spearmen, a length 4 spear, 10 attack, 24 piercing damage. Normal stats here. He's wearing chainmail halberd, a half helmet, and a shield, giving us 18 on the body, 21 on the head. So a very heavy troop, does have a shield, I think he's heavy enough, and we have enough HP. We can actually survive a couple crossbow hits if we have to. I mean, we don't like it, but we're not going to insta-die to that. 30 gold, 39 resources, 17 recruitment points. Not cheap. Not cheap. Of this one, I actually like the medium variety better because they have javelins. If I'm taking this guy, it's because I think the repels are going to be useful, because that 10 attack just isn't doing it for me. I really wish this was like 11 or even 12, but if you do connect, they are going to feel it. Our low attack density means we're not even going to get a lot of harassment penalty on enemies, so even more need of having those size 3 or some size 2 things to help get some harassment penalty out and let these guys get a few more hits. Next up, we have the Jotun Axeman. This is the same troop, but instead of a spear, he has the axe. If you don't think that the spears are going to help you get repels, I actually like this one more, and it is length 2, so for a lot of those humans wielding length 1 weapons, this is actually still a repel weapon. There's no benefit to being longer other than just I am longer than you, so I can repel. So I actually like these guys quite a bit. 29 damage is nothing to sneeze at. Heavy cav, even a really heavy troop is just going to get squished by these guys. And it's slashing damage, so even if they're blocking with a shield, there's a decent chance you just smash their shield on the first time they block you, and then they'll lose their shield, and a lot of times that'll drop their defense down to like 8 to 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. Do note that like when you look at this, you're getting parry modifier on it, and so it's not really what it says it is on the 10. So when you break those shields, you can hit them easier, is the long short of that. Next up, we have Jotun Hurlers. Hey, I heard you had a problem hitting high defense targets. Let me toss you a boulder here. So again, not particularly accurate, but we're going to use weight of fire. Unfortunately, the thing I don't like about boulder units in almost any iteration, they only have 2 ammo. 2 ammo sucks. You whiff once, you hit once, and then you're done. And do note that this is not like an AoE weapon or anything, so it is just against a single target. Now, if you hit a single target, 36 blunt damage is probably going to squish it quite effectively. So you do have that going for you. Perhaps you have enough frontline giants, and you just need some more firepower. A few of these guys behind the front line could help, and they do have an axe, so they're not running in with fists or anything, so that's kind of nice. 30, 11, 17 for recruitment is a smidgen expensive, but like I said, to go behind your front line and just still be able to do something. In addition, they have a siege bonus of 5. That means that they actually do 9.4 siege strength. That's not bad. There's definitely something to be said about having a good siege strength unit in the late age to get through these massive, massive citadels with giant numbers of troops inside of them in a decent amount of time. So 10 or 20 of these guys, I mean, 10 of them is 94, 20 of them is 188. That's a lot of siege strength. That's a decent amount of siege strength. And you can keep them somewhat safe because they're not going to be in your front line, so you're not going to have them die instantly. Also of note, I do believe these are what you get when you're sieged. Giants with extra boulders on a wall, now we're talking. They're not going to die, and they're going to throw a lot of boulders and squish a lot of dudes. It is not fun having to attack into giant forts that have boulder throwers. Next up, we have the Jotun Huskarl. This is now moving down to our medium troop. Remill, Hallberg, Iron Cap, and a shield. 35 gold, 21 resources, 20 recruitment points. Gives us an actual 14-19 spread for actual protection. These guys also have Bodyguard 1. We do have some Blood Hunters, so maybe these are the guys you use to help protect them. They have that length 2 axe, and they're actually better with it. They have an 11 attack. I like that a lot. That really, really helps them for that nice 28 damage. Very usable if you want to use an axe troop. I like these guys. In the early game, I actually end up expanding with these guys at the very beginning just because they're kind of on the cheaper side. They still have a javelin, and they can still kill heavy cav. But if you don't need the javelins, this is a more economical troop, I feel. Next up, we have the Gadi Huskarl. This is your medium spearman, chainmail cuirass, an iron cap, and a shield. That nice length 4 spear, and he went up to 11 attack. Like, that is really important. Also has the javelins. I like these guys quite a bit. They're pretty decent for low loss expansion. That spear will allow you to get a lot of repels against cavalry type units, and basically anything else. Length 4 weapons are not super duper common. You can get a couple javelins off early. These guys are also bodyguards, but I suppose it's to taste whether you get these guys or the axes. Kind of a moot point, but yeah, I like these guys well enough if you need the spear. Next up, we have the Jotunhildeman. This is probably our best standard line troop. Length 2 broadsword that he's really good with. 13 attack with 28 slashing damage is really, really nice. Like, I cannot overemphasize the difference between 9 or 10 attack and the 13 for how often you're going to hit. Remember, you only have one of these guys per square, so you're not going to get the standard harassment penalty that you're used to getting from a line troop. In a normal line, you generally have 9 humans who could possibly hit the thing that they are trying to hit, just in line versus line target. Here we are maxed out at 3 giants. If we have humans in the mix, 3 humans. That's not a lot of potential harassment penalty. So this is going to go a long way to actually making these guys do something. In addition, length 2 is really nice. A lot of humans are using length 1 weapons in late age, and we can actually get a parry, and we're good enough to actually do it. That's the difference here. So quite nice there. I like these guys a lot. They are 18 body, 19 head with a shield. Very nice heavy troop. I like these a lot. Now you pay for it. 50 gold, 41 resources, 31 recruitment points. That's very pricey. But maybe like, I don't know, 10 of these guys as the middle of your line, and then some of the other cheaper stuff maybe on the wings could be a way that you could do something. Finally, we have our Sacred, the Garmhealing. This is a cap only. This is kind of sort of the guys who used to be werewolves, but we've lost the old Sacreds, so these guys have taken that up. They can no longer turn into werewolves, so we've degraded there. They don't have their natural regen, so they've degraded there. How far you have fallen. Awesome unit. But that being said, 55 gold, 9 resources, 28 recruitment points. This is a nice, relatively low resource unit. That helps with your recruiting, not on keeping it alive, though. Good HP, good strength, all the general giant stats. They are Berserkers +2. So we look at his protection here. We're actually going to go up to 8 natural protection. That'll stack relatively well with our body armor, but this is not enough that we love taking crossbows or anything. They are forest survival, in addition to being sacred. They have a length 3 battle axe with 13 attack for 37 slashing damage. This is up there with some of the biggest, hardest hitting units in the game. Unfortunately, not magic weapon. That would have been just a nice little icing on the cake. Would have been nice if they still had regen, but this is usable. Do you Hellbless this? I don't know. I feel like we really need scales if we're going to get enough troops out to be effective. Scales in Hellbless is kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. That being said here, I do like these. I do think they are blessable. I do think they are very usable. So I think that's maybe to taste on these guys a little bit. I'm going to show you a couple blessings that I do feel are relatively effective, and we'll see what we feel about that. Heroes, Commanders, and Prophet. For heroes, we have 4 heroes. Our old buddy Abductor is still up to his shenanigans here. He is notable for having 3 air, which we otherwise do not have on this nation. 3 water means that you can make robes of the sea. You also could get underwater somehow, and he could actually summon in Bishop Fish. So those are 2 pretty nice things. You could empower an air once. He also could get air boosters. And even without that, he could cloud trap ease in. He is definitely a super combatant, especially if you have some form of healing for him. Do note, he does have the ice protection, so you want him in as cold of area as you can. Going into heat is a good way for him to die. He can also shapeshift into a great eagle, which is kind of cool. Fly around. Then we have the Norna of the past, present, and future. These are just variations on the same mage. Astral, death, nature, glamour, the same in various amounts. These are notable, I would say, for being our highest astral, our highest death, our highest glamour, and our highest nature. So these are our best mages when it comes to opening up path opportunities. Like the 3 glamour here would allow you to make glamour boosters. That's pretty important. A skull staff gets her to death 4, which opens up some nice boosters. A skull cap gets her to astral 4. Pretty nice there. Overall, I mean, they're nothing crazy, but they're not bad either. So I do like all these mages here. Going up to commanders, we have a decent spread here. We have just a standard human scout. I really appreciate that and not having to get Jotun scouts. Very cool unit, but who wants to pay 60 gold for a scout? Not I say. When would I get the Jotun scout? One thing he is good at doing, carrying some blood slaves or some gems around to hand off to your army. He's not going to die from a random ritual spell that hits him with an arrow for 20 damage. Like, he's just going to live. Whereas your poor little scout here may take that arrow and die and drop all those juicy gems that you had. Next up, we have the hearse. This is a human leader. I don't like him because he has 75 leadership. Nothing else of note here. Maybe he could help ferry some reinforcements or build some forts for you if you had to. Next up, we have the Jotun hearse. The Jotun hearse is a sacred, otherwise standard giant. He has 75 leadership. I don't actually like this guy. 75 doesn't get us into formations, which is the main thing I would be looking for out of a leader. And he can't bless either. 105 gold, 41 resources, 1 recruitment point. Next up, we have the Gode, or the Gode. This is a human priest sacred. Again, I'm not particularly feeling this. I suppose if you just want somebody for priest duties, that's what he would be good for. 10 leadership, otherwise, it's just a human priest. Next up, we have the Jotun Gode. This is our priest level 2 that we can recruit, one of them. He has 13 protection, standard traits in addition for survival. Priest level 2s is good for banishing, and it's good for sermons of courage. Do note that, like, when we look down here, our giants aren't terrible. 12, 13, 11 on our lowest one, but the humans aren't great. So having that priest level 2 is kind of nice for some sermons of courage. Next up, we have the Jotun Jarl. This is our giant with 100 leadership. He is a priest in addition to the standard traits. This is my preferred leader for troops because I do like giants to be in formation. If you don't have them in formation, remember, only 1 giant per square. You're going to get a big clump in the middle, and then you're going to stand around not swinging your weapon, getting shot by crossbows. Better to be in a line formation with humans filtering through than that. So I do like these guys a lot. Oftentimes, I'll have one of these and one level 2 priest go out as a pair. That way I can get some sermons of courage out, and this guy can get people in formations. Depending on what I need to lead around. The other priest level 2, even though he doesn't have formations, he can just have some humans filter through the line. That's fine. They don't have to be in formation. Next up, we have the Seath Kona. This is our main mage. Not the best here, I'll be honest. What she's good for is being a communion slave for our better mages, but even on her own, she could get into a communion and do something. Astral 1 screams body ethereal. Other than that, though, I guess Glamour 1 can do a little bit, especially if we could get Twilight up, but otherwise not overly impressive. She does have Fortune Teller. I'm not sure I love that here because we're probably not going Misfortune, but it's there, it exists. 11 research for 120 isn't bad. And for the upkeep, 196 for 11 is efficient. I will note she has pretty low morale, so just keep an eye on that. They're ready to run it kind of a moment's notice. Next up, we have the Jotun Scrati. The Jotun Scrati, still kicking, not as magical as he used to be, I don't think. 310, he is slow to recruit. He is Water 1, Blood 2, and a random of Water, Death, Glamour, Blood. I would go probably pretty hard on these guys to get at least a Water 2, so you can have a Water 2 and go out sight searching. They still can shapeshift into their werewolf form. That is nice. And this is our Blood Hunter / Blood Access. A Blood 3 can natively cast something like Blood Rain, which would be pretty nice for us. If you don't make a god to do it, this is also your chassis that you're going to spend a lot of time boosting up, but he could do Illwinter if you have to. Overall, I like these guys. You're going to need some for some blood hunting, but we're never going to be a super blood power. Finally, we have the Norna. The Norna is cap only, and the Norna here, these are pretty good. I wish they weren't slow to recruit. 295 is not a bad price for what we get. 17 research for 236 is not efficient, and with being slow to recruit, just not going to happen. They do also come in at old age, and they are pretty dang old. You're not going to fix that particularly. 2 Astral, 2 Death, a Glamour, and a random of Astral, Death, Nature, Glamour, Blood. I think the biggest one here is getting the Glamour 2 so that you can kind of struggle bust your way up to Twilight if you need to. Beyond that, you can get a Death 3 or a Astral 3, which can be handy. I think your main combat plan with these are going to be getting into a communion with our not slow to recruit Seathkonas. Even just 2 of them communing with one of these gets you up to Death 3 for some nice Hordes of Skeleton spam. You can do that pretty effectively. One thing of note, you can get 3 rounds of Body Ethereal off before things run away from you. So you could do something like Body Ethereal 3 times, Communion Slave, and then she takes over. So you could have her do maybe even just Body Ethereal herself those first 3 rounds and then do that. Just a way that you can get your Body Ethereal out and then enter into the Communion and still be useful once things have kind of moved away from you. So just something to think about there. Who would I make my prophet? I think I would stick with one of our giants, and especially the ones with the better protection. 18 protection is much preferred, I would say, over like the 13. Or maybe we go with a scout prophet. If you are a scout prophet enjoyer, a giant one is much better than a human chassis for that purposes. I don't think we go with the humans though. If you have the giant available, why not? I think that's definitely a better option. As for national items, we have no national items. As for national spells, we actually have a good number here. Starting in Conjuration at Conj 3. For Death 2, we can summon in Glossos. 13 Death Gems get us 9 of these. These are those Dark Fire Boars. Again, we'll take a look at all the summons once we're done with the spells. We can do Slothabears because of course we can. These are not sacred. You know my feelings about that. You do get a decent number of them. You have a very low chance of getting a Nature 2 though, so take that as you will. Going up to Conj 4, we have Awaken Jotun-Draugr. These are giant skeletons. They actually get bigger as they get damaged, which gives them some HP boost and some damage boost. They have a chill aura and a fear aura. I actually like these guys decently. Being able to have a few of these and then skelly spam to distract the banishers is not terrible. That being said, 15 death gems only gets you 3. So man, I feel that these guys are just overpriced. 5 death gems for a skeleton. That better be one dang good skeleton. A better use of our nature gems, Brood of Garm. This is a nature 2 for 10 gems. Gets us 5. These wolves are actually all right. I like these a lot better than I like the bears because these are going to be sacred. Finally, we go all the way up to 8 and we have Summon Dwarf of 4 directions. Note, we are not anywhere close to this, so you'd have to basically design a god to do it. If you do, every time you cast this, you get one of the dwarves of 4 directions. If you summon all 4, you permanently cast Darkness and Perpetual Storm on the entire world. Note, you are not immune to those effects. Of note here, this is not a ritual, so for somebody to turn this off, they would have to find one of your dwarves and kill him. So that could be vaguely interesting. For this nation, though, I just don't see that particularly happening. Next up in Thaumaturgy, we have Seath Curse, Death 1, Astral 1, 3 Death Gems. You curse somebody and you curse somebody that is friendly to you. It's a hard magic resist check. I don't love this one. Would I use this? Only if I could see like an enemy solo god running around. I would probably fire a few of these off just to see if we can get lucky and curse them. Curse makes your chances of picking up an affliction much, much higher. So you can screw over super combatants or thugs with it quite well, but I don't love this spell. Finally, in Blood, we have the titular Illwinter. Again, if you're having to come up from a Water 1 or Water 2, Blood 2 or 3, this is a lot of boosting. Like a lot of boosting. If you had to do it, a Water 2, and then having the Abductor make you a robe, and then you would have to get blood up 3 points, that's a lot of boosting. I think if you want to do this, you're looking at a god. If you do, Illwinter is a great global spell. Everywhere has a 50% chance of gaining unrest, getting extra cold, There's random attacks in cold provinces. Now, note this does affect you, but you have giants in your PD, so that will help you stave those off. It also allows the recruitment of 1 Neefel Giant in every fort. I have not double checked that that's actually the case here in late age. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's all right, but I could use confirmation if anyone has actually done it in 6. That being said, the Jotun Giants are the same as they've always been. They're those early age sacreds. They are really nice. They would bring in a cold aura that you otherwise don't really have available. So I do quite like those. We'll look at those here. These are the 4 dwarves. If you did summon them in, they have various different pathing, notably earth, air, and water. There's some fire. There's some nature. There's some death. Again, you'd have to make a god specifically to do it, and how you're going to get those gems, I don't know. The Great Bear, it's a bear. It's the bears. I don't know what to say about that. I wish it was sacred. Jotun Wolf. I actually like this. This is Brooded Garm. They have fear and they're sacred. So depending on what your bless is, these are actually kind of spooky. Berserker +3 is also not bad. That takes them to 12 natural protection. These are not bad. I like having some fear available to us. Do note that they are animals, but they are not undisciplined. So a few of these guys, just to help spread a little bit of fear, they are size 6, so they can also push their way through humans, is not terrible. They also are good, like 13 attack for claw and bite, 25 and 23 damage respectively. I like these a lot. Yeah, I think depending on your bless, you really should think about trying to get some wolves in if you can get some nature income. Glosso, these have heat auras and are flame resistant. The only time I would really consider these is if I needed that flame resistance to fight something. Beyond that, none of our guys like being around that heat aura. They are size 4 and they are tramplers. Do note that they can't trample our own giants. So that is kind of nice. You could start these guys out in front. And if they run away, they can't kill your giants at least. They also have Dark Vision 100, so could help you go underground if you needed to do that. They're weirdly stealthy for some reason. Again, and they're sacred. So at least they're sacred. That gives them major points in my book. The Jotun Drog, this is that skeleton I was talking about. Tell me if you think this guy's worth 5 gems. I always so much on the fence. At least he has 70 HP, and his magic resistance is pretty high. So props there. He does have a chill aura. He does have a fear aura. He has poison resistance and cold resistance. That's some stuff that is very useful. He also is an amphibian. So a couple of these guys to support a leader of some type going underwater might be able to make it through the stab fest that is the ocean. If you can find something small, like coral spears or something to fight into, these guys would be all right at fighting that. 18 protection is not bad either. So it's not that they're bad. I just don't know. 5 gems for this. Yikes. Finally, we have the Neefel Giant. Notice it says may enable, so even my mod author isn't 100% certain here. This is the early age sacred, 69 nice HP. You are going to get 1 of these per fort, so do note that is non-capped sacred recruitment. 140 gold, 22 resources, not terrible at all. Does have Chill Aura 10 and does have ice protection. So again, do not take these guys into high heat and expect them to live. You want to be as cold as possible. Even cold 1 takes them up to 16 protection, which is a lot better than 14. So you could do cold 3. I mean, that takes them up to 20. That's pretty hard to get rid of, but these are pretty limited. I don't know if we fully build for these. You have to go all the way to Illwinter and get 120 blood slaves. There's a lot of setup time for one of these guys. But if you do get there, they're pretty good, I have to say. Beyond that, for magic, because we only have Astral Death and Glamour in any major amount, a little bit of blood, a little bit of water, I think we are mainly going to be looking at doing some summons. One thing I would really consider is water kobolds and gnomes. The reason being, we have some glamour income. So water kobolds are all right researchers. I believe they have 9 research, and they have glamour, so they can actually have a dreamstone, and that would make them much more efficient researchers. Now note, those do take your glamour gems. Cave kobolds, if you have a mining site, can be kind of nice. They also have magic weapons. Beyond those 2 guys, I do think that gnomes are another interesting one. Gnomes would bring in some earth, and we could do earth buffs. We would really like to do the temper armor on our relatively heavy giants. That would be really nice. We don't really need the giant strength, although the giant strength on our human troops would help them out an absolute ton. Beyond that, alteration 3 for body ethereal is nice. We also have water access, so we could do like freezing mist type stuff, or quickness type stuff, or liquid body type stuff. Decent stuff that they can do, although while they're not cap only, they are slow to recruit, so you're not going to have a ton of those guys. Evocation, again, glamour stuff we can do. We can get a decent amount of glamours via either communions or twilight, so that is something. Beyond that, though, we do have decent magic duelers, so we do have that option. And not a ton here. I will say Shadow Blast, because we can do those on our Noras or from our communions, could be kind of spooky. You could do communion, Hortoskeleton, 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 Shadow Blast. Shadow Blast does not hit our undead. Doesn't affect undead units here, as you can see. And it paralyzes things, making them very easy for our giants to hit. That can be kind of nice. It is also armor negating damage. And it's magic resist for half, not negates. So this could be pretty spooky. It's a good area of effect. And if you're in a communion, you're looking at least size 10 more depending on your communion. So something a little bit out of the way, but it at least gives us some evo power. You also could do the glamour, of course. In construction, I think we're mainly looking at dreamstones for getting boosters. Sanguine dowsing rods if we're going to try for the blood stuff. The glamour booster would be super helpful. The water booster would be super helpful. The death booster would be super helpful. A lot of those are all on level 5 though. So you're going to have to kind of commit to construction if you're going to go up there. Also, depending on what your bless is, you could actually make some pretty cheap recruitment thugs. I just don't know if they would be worth the gems to kit out with how precious gems are in late age. In enchantment, like you can see here, I went for Horde of Skeletons, and I used that to filter through my giants as chaff, and that works pretty decently. Beyond that, it's okay. I'm not in love with this. Twiceborn is nice for our slow to recruits because they're slow to recruit, so that can be handy. Shrouded Bewilderment is nice protection. We can cast Horrible Visage. Note that's a self only. I don't think. Yeah, Nightmare Mask down here. We can give Dread to troops, and we can communion up into this. So we do have Fear available for all of our troops, maybe as a later game type thing. That could be interesting. Thaumaturgy, of course, gets us our communion. In addition, I don't mind having Mind Burn just in case a Norna needs to do something, and she just doesn't have anything else to do. Sleep can be useful. Luck can be pretty useful. Despair can be kind of useful. So overall, a good variety you can go for, but we don't have a ton of easy access to the big thing. So I do think we're probably going to have to commune up. Do remember that communions and Sabbaths are separate, so they cannot join together. You would have to find a way to bring one into the other. Let's bring all that together. Jotunheim is a nation that is still giants in the late age, so props to them there. They're also cold. There are not a ton of cold nations in late age, although the ones that are here are spooky. So having them come into your cold scales is kind of scary. We have decent troops, but we need lots of production for them. We do have the option of some humans, but the humans don't have snow moves, so they're very slow. We have decent mages that are okay at what they do, but we're not really going to surprise anyone. We do astral, we do death, and we do glamour. Those are our main things. The little bit of blood we have could be a way we could pivot into something else. You'd have to make do with that as you would. As you can see in this game behind you, I am in turn 26. I've expanded rather well. I just finished a war over here with TNG, and I'm getting ready for a war with Satis. It's going pretty nice. I have a lot of infrastructure up, and the expansion was pretty smooth. There is attrition. Like every single province over here had like 30 plus crossbowmen. So that was a little bit painful. But when I ran into like heavy cav, I just chopped them up. So that was rather nice. It's okay. It's okay. Overall, I would say scales are definitely needed if you're going to get enough troops. Our cap only sacreds just are not the monsters that would need to be for a Hellbless anymore. For pretenders and scales, as previously mentioned, I do think that you are going to need production, and I think you need production too. So that pretty much wipes out normal dragons, which is unfortunate. I do think that the cold dragon here could be kind of interesting. Maybe ditto on the air guy. You could give yourself some lightning resist, but getting that sloth would really hurt. I'm not sure I'm there for that. As for chassis, we actually have a pretty decent spread. I appreciate that we have some unique ones. We have the Scrotty. He's a blood 1 and he's overpriced. We have the Bog Mummy. 240 is ridiculous for a death 1, blood 1. With, I guess he has a vulnerability 20, but I'm just not feeling that. We also have the Son of Neifelheim. Cool, but at 250 points for a, I guess, super combatant, but he's probably going to need regen to do it. I don't know about that. I'm not certain. Beyond those, we do have lots of other choices. If you're going cold stuff, Frostfather's a nice cheapie. He's only 100 points. He has a couple paths. You could go high blood on a Freak Lord. You could go Great Sage for some research. We don't have terrible research, but we're not like super amazing at it. So he could help out a ton there. Great Enchantress brings in an extra glamour gem. Since we only have native 4 income, this is a 25% increase in your gem income as soon as she's on the field. So something to consider there. Moving up to Dom 2, I actually like Son of Fenrir. I have done this guy in the past where I think I had regen and frost aura on them, or cold aura. And that's pretty interesting. He berserks, he comes in with 1d6 Jotun Wolves, who are, of course, sacred. But as an expander, I don't know about that. You're going to have to bark skin on him and then just pray that you can survive, even with regen. I'm not in love with that. He can work, but man, crossbows and knights are not his friend. At least he's only 170 points, though. So at least that's not, like, stupid overpriced. Past that, do note your snake here is cold-blooded, so he's not going to love it. Your Ormur is not cold-blooded, so if you want to go snake, maybe this is a better guy. He also comes in with regen. So we could go hard skin on him. Yeah, just hard skin would probably be fine. Maybe hard skin and a little bit of water so that you can give yourself a cold aura and quickness. He has venomous fangs and a tail sweep. Tail sweep is AoE. That's pretty nice. Yeah, he's okay. I could see that. In fact, let's just price one out here. So if we went 6 and like 2, and we would need hard skin, and that's it. That's not terrible. We could still get 2 scales. No, we couldn't because he has sloth. What lazy snake. Forget you then. Never mind. You can do some Dracolich stuff, but going with Mending Bones doesn't help our sacreds. I'm not really loving that. Divas of the Sun, maybe a surprise fire something could be useful. She does give you 2 fire gems. That is a lot. I don't know what else you're really doing with her, though. Keeper of the Bridge, I'm not a huge fan of. Father of Winters, not a huge fan of. Great Mother, We do have Irminsul. Irminsul is interesting because he comes in with a sight. This, even if he's imprisoned, you start with a sight and it generates 1 nature gem per turn. Compared to the Great Enchantress, who has to actually be awake to get her gems. That's interesting. He isn't immobile, though. If you're just going for a really cheap regen, you could use him. Idol of Sorcery does allow you to get an extra magic scale. If you are going to lean into the fortune and magic, maybe that's a way you could go. Monolith could be a thing here. I'm not really feeling the quickness nor the blood fountain. So not the best, not the worst. I do think there's enough workable to have options here, but there's not a ton I'm like, oh, that's super exciting. Let's take a look at a couple that I rolled up. Okay, first up, we have Hard Place. This is an imprisoned monolith, and he comes in with Unbreakable, Larger, and Enchanted Blood. After my testing, after I've done these guys, I do think I would probably play with Cold 2. So I think all these gods I have on right now are all going to be Cold 1. But just because on the off chance that we can get Illwinter up and running, having cold 2 would help those sacreds out a lot. Again, maybe lobby dependent. Do note that none of these require him to be incarnate, so we get Unbreakable, which is 75% less afflictions. That helps our sacreds a lot. Larger and Enchanted Blood. He's all right. He's in prison, so he's going to be out for a long time. When he wakes up, he has the paths to do Illwinter. So again, hence I would probably go cold 2, which nets me an additional 40 points to do something. He can make astral boosters. He can summon in, I don't know, some various things. The Brood of Grom for you. He can do some Earth stuff for you. He's okay, if maybe a little boring. I think the most interesting thing here is a pretty beefy non-incarnate bless for our sacreds. Again, I would probably go to cold 2. Next up, we have Wolf Tree. He's going to summon in lots of Broods of Garm. Again, I think I would go cold 2 here. That frees up a few extra points. I don't know what you do with those, though. 40 points is only enough to get one path. I believe he is a 40 cost to add pathing to him. I think I'd probably go an extra scale there. Maybe we go with that extra fortune, go up to fortune 2. Otherwise, he just has good scales. He's dormant, so you're not going to start with the regen. You do get that nature income, though. Finally, we have Jotun. I liked her quite a bit. Again, I think I would change her to cold 2. In fact, no, I'll do it later. Cold 2, I think, is the way to go here. She's mainly Enchanted Blood and Blood Bond. Note she is dormant, so you don't start with that. What this does for you is the Blood Bond means as soon as one of your sacreds takes damage, the Blood Bond will share it out, and all of your sacreds nearby will go berserk. So you're immune from routing, essentially, with your sacreds. And I tend to find that between Blood Bond and Enchanted Blood, as long as you have a decent group, they're unlikely to die. You'll have some attrition. It's not terrible. If you can give them any kind of defensive boost, that'll make them much harder to kill. If you could body ethereal them all, they are very hard to kill like this. It's rare you get hit. When you do, you share the damage, and you are able to slowly regen it back. In addition, yes, she's dormant, but when she wakes up, you'll start getting those glamour gems. If we look at her pathing, she's set up to do Illwinter. She's set up to do water kobolds, cave kobolds, and gnomes, I believe. You do all of those. So not a bad, kind of a utility pick here. She has decent research. She has some gem income. I liked her quite a bit. I think you can expand just fine without Blood Bond, so it's not that big of a penalty. By going down to cold 2, I would probably add fortune or growth here. One or the other. I don't think we need extra order. Although if you are going to blood hunt a lot, the extra order does help with blood hunting. So that could definitely be an option. In conclusion, congratulations to Jotunheim. You did survive all the way to late age. That's an achievement. And you are still a giant nation. That's an achievement. You have troops that are ironically still good enough for late age. Although crossbows are going to make you suffer. The heaviest calves going to make you suffer. Depending on the enemy's temperature scales and available magic will make you suffer. It's rough out there. It's rough out there. But you did it. You made it. I'm proud of you. The magic, I'm still getting a handle on. Let me know what you guys think. What are some cool things that these mages can do? I think I'm kind of on like level 1. I need to level up my magic use for this nation. I like them and they're usable. My main thing is being able to summon either skeletons or illusions to trickle through our heavy infantry and provide support. So I think that's pretty decent, but I definitely feel like there's some other things we could squeeze out of this nation. All right, that's going to be it for Utgard, a very fun nation. I'm glad that we have giants still surviving in late age. If you'd like to support those giants, don't forget to leave a like on the video. That helps out an absolute ton. If you want to go above and beyond, you could always leave a super thanks on a video. You can join me live on stream and super chat, or consider becoming a member. As a member of the channel, you get early access to the videos that I'm working on. In addition to supporting me, it just helps out an absolute ton. That's how I can afford to show off other games on the channel and help me justify the massive amounts of time I spend on the videos. Either way, just being here and sharing your tips and tricks and chatting on stream is appreciated. All right, builders, get out there and struggle in the cold because Utgard's not given up yet. I'll catch you on stream.